As CEO who is recipient of the Transformative CEO Award in Customer Experience, tell me about how the customer story impacts you.
I had a young woman in her mid-30s with 2 children share her story of being client of National Life and how we have impacted her life, her family's life, her children, because of a policy that her husband had a wisdom to purchase. And that's the way this young lady talked about her husband. My husband was bright. He always knew that he needs to make sure that we are taken care of. So he was wise enough to purchase a life insurance, although we were in our mid-30s. Her husband, at such a young age, is diagnosed with cancer, and he dies. And now you have a young woman who has to make decisions about mortgage, car payments, 2 young children. And one of our agents was there to not only support her in figuring things out, also delivering a claims check, which creates the legacy that her husband had intended for himself and for their entire family. So in serving our clients, the sense that you are walking in their shoes, how would you want to be treated is absolutely critical to the success of what we do. I guess one of my favorite stories is that a few years ago, our oldest client, who died at the age of 104, had a whole life policy, and at age 100, basically they get a check because they have outlived basically the promise which was made to them many decades ago. This particular client actually had purchased their policy when they were 23 years old, right? So think about this. How many companies have relationships which last over 8 decades? So someone from our customer service organization calls this client and says, "Ma'am, we are calling to verify your address in order to send the check to your home." And she says, "What check?" "Your life insurance check. You have lived to be 100 years old, therefore you get to get a check for living for 100 years. And she says, "Oh, that thing." And so just again, think about this. 8 decades later, we are reaching out in order to do what we do best, taking care of our clients.